All right, it says we live. All right, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem,
Bahashim.
Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash, double honors to the apostles and those a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Got the Elder Yatazak here from GMS Dallas. I'm the brother Aina, and we're going to continue this series in 2 Samuel, where we're going into basically the events of David's life. And this chapter that we're about to go into, 2 Samuel chapter 7, is a very, very key chapter to read to understand how the Most High views Israel, right? When you read about, the Exodus, right, and you see how the Most High put his name on Israel as a nation, you go into Exodus, chapter 20 and so on and so forth, where it talks about the 10 commandments and basically those laws, statutes, and commandments given to Israel, and us agreeing with the Most High that we're going to, do the things that he commanded us. That covenant is confirmed in David, okay, where we're about to see the Lord has been preserving David for this moment to basically make this pact and this covenant with him that he's going to preserve his house. Okay, so Abaratazah, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson, and let me go ahead and share my screen and get right to it.
And as a side note, you notice how the Lord made that promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? The house of Jacob is synonymous with the house of David for those who can receive it. So
Right.
when you see how the Heavenly Father felt about David's legacy, it's going back to a promise that was made to his forefathers.
Mhm. Kind. Let me go ahead and share this. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off 2 Samuel chapter 7. Now, when you do a recap of chapter 6, the Most High allowed David to bring that ark into the city of Jerusalem. Okay, so David is established as king, right, and amongst over all Israel, and pretty much one of the first things that he did as king was, to bring the ark of the covenant into the city that the Lord allowed him to establish, right? And so now we have the setting of the Ark of the Covenant in the city of David, right? And it's in a tent or a tabernacle, which is a tent. We went into this last week, and that's pretty much that's how it always was up until this point. The tabernacle, there was always the Ark of the Covenant basically dwelling in a tabernacle, and it was movable. Now we're talking about a permanent place for the ark to rest. Okay, so let's go ahead and start verse 1. It says, and it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, see now, I dwell in an house of cedar, but the ark of the Most High dwelleth within curtains. So David was like, man, the Lord gave me this house, and and the ark of the Most High is just in like a little tent, And he made the observation, and it says, verse 3, and Nathan said to the king, go, do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is with thee. So when you assess that shows that David was spiritual, man, because he saw that the Most High allowed him to go from running from Saul in the wilderness with no house, no home, to now he's dwelling safely. His enemies are subdued, and the ark of the covenant is in the city that David had established. But he's like, damn, I'm in this nice house. The ark of the Lord is just in a little tent, right? And so Nathan said, hey, whatever is in your heart, go ahead and do. Now, I'm gonna read this verse, and then we'll make an observation. It says, verse 4, and it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto Nathan, saying, go tell my and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in? Now, David, like, he was ready to go ahead and start building the house to the Lord. That's why he said to Nathan, hey, like Nathan, like, the Ark of the Covenant is just dwelling in the temple. I should build a house for it. And Nathan said, go ahead and do that. But the Lord said, hold on. That same night, the Lord gave Nathan a dream, and basically, this dream is going to be instructions to David for what to do. Okay.
Now notice when you fast forward to the future for those who can receive it, when Peter was like, let's build a tabernacle for Moses and Elijah, and let's do that. And the Lord interrupted him again.
Mm-hmm.
He said, look, I got a plan. You know what I'm saying? I got this. Your dynasty, your legacy is more important than what you got going. So let me go ahead and correct that. That was, and that's the thing. The Lord was always dealing with David. Whenever David got to the point where he wanted to do his own thing, the Lord would always send somebody to let him know, to snap him back into the spirit.
Con.
And that's and being of the house of David, which we believe we are, we have to recognize those opportunities for ourselves.
That's right.
You got it.
That's right. Verse 5, it says, go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in? Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. See? So that's pretty much the ark of the Lord, ark of the covenant was it was never placed in a house that was dedicated specifically for the ark to dwell in, okay, up until this point. Because again, in the wilderness, we were moving, right? We were transporting the ark itself. When we weren't stationary, we would transport the ark, okay? And when we were setting up camp, then we would we would set up the tabernacle, right? But it was never a permanent place that the ark had dwelt.
Right, which shows you that the Lord is everywhere. Wherever I would say that the Ark of the Covenant represented the presence of the Lord amongst Israel. You see, and no matter where they were, the covenant was, what I'm saying, like you said, they was transporting it. Wherever you go is wherever the Lord is. The Lord is with us, so that's what that represented. You got it.
Con. All right.
Yeah,
It says,
don't just shortchange the Lord to one spot.
man,
I would say he created everything. I would say everything that was created for our sakes. So to be able to put it in one spot, that also keeps you from being able for the enemies to get a hold of it. You see,
yep.
It's never not in the same place. They can't stake out and be like, okay, well, they're gonna be here. No. The Lord is everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It says, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, which shows that the presence of the Lord was truly constantly uh um between the wings of the cherubims, like we read last week. Okay. It says, in all places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me an house of cedar? You see, because that's the thing. Like, this was never something that was commanded before. This wasn't in the law. This wasn't one of the things that that the Lord had told Moses when they were in the wilderness, to build the Lord a house in a specific place. Okay. And the reason why this is being said like this is because it shows you that the Lord is confirming that this is his will. Okay. That a certain amount of time had to play out until he allowed for this to happen. Okay. So it says in verse 8, and I'll actually get a precept after I read this verse. It says, now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep. Let me actually get that word, sheepcote. That word sheepcoat is Strong's H 5116, Nawah, which is a habitation, fold, dwelling, abode of shepherds or flocks. So basically, he was out in the field, just like how Moses was a shepherd before the Lord drew him to that burning bush. Okay, David was he had the same occupation. You see, he was living a simple life, kind of similar to how us before we came into the into the truth, into the ministry. We were out doing whatever, right? Until we got called to something more serious, right? Now, let me finish this verse. It says,
Oh,
I
I say
took.
Jacob was also a keeper of the sheep, and so was Abel.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. That's actually it's in Genesis where I believe it was Jacob had told Pharaoh at that time, that is their occupation. Like that's what our nation does. Like we're good shepherds. You know, that's our occupation as a
Oh
nation.
yeah, 70 souls. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, this is talking about when he, Jacob, he ended up meeting, that Pharaoh that, did right by Joseph.
Joseph. Yep.
Yep. And but anyway, just a little side note. Continuing on, it says, I took thee from the sheepcote, following the sheep to be ruler over my people, over Israel. Now let me get this in Psalms 78. Okay. Um, This is Psalm 78 and verse 70. And so when you read like a lot of the Psalms and certain things, like it confirms the same things, the same events that happen, which shows you the importance of these certain events. David, if you type it in, it comes up, shoot, almost 1,000 times in the scriptures. Okay, so David was a very important individual in our history. Okay, and again, a majority of our people aren't taught about King David, in the school system, especially, right? They're not going to be taught about a lot of scholars even argue that he even existed. Okay. But this is our history, man. This is the history that Esau doesn't want you to know. So this is important. Psalm 78, verse 70, it says, he chose David, also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds, from following the ewes, uh, great with young. He brought them to feed Jacob his people and Israel his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. So I found it interesting how the Lord took David from being a leader of animals to a leader of the Lord's people, right? A shepherd of the Lord's people in the sense of he taught them, to fear the Most High.
A
Okay.
person without the law, statutes, and commandments, a person without the law, statutes, and commandments is considered a beast.
Hmm.
You see, consider
Yeah.
when the scriptures talk about beasts and creatures, it's talking about people. You know, so when you understand, also like I said, he was put in charge of the sheep first. You know what I'm saying? And then once he mastered keeping the sheep, he was put in the place to do the same thing for the people, just like the brother saying.
Hmm. Yep. So going back to this Second Samuel, verse 9, it says, "And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all mine enemies, excuse me, all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth." Now I want to get that see what this word is. Great men. Let's see here. Okay, Gadol. Okay. Yeah, got a wall. Okay. Yeah. I'll get that word great here in the Hebrew. Strong's H 1419. Um, got a wall, which the root word is a gadol, which pretty much means the same thing. Great, high, uh, large in magnitude or in extent. Okay. Great in intensity. Okay. So pretty much he was pretty much raised up to the point where he was high and mighty, in the eyes of the people. And that was all so that the Lord can be glorified, so the Lord can be magnified, right? And matter of fact, let me get this precept real quick in Luke chapter 14. Because here's the thing, man. David wasn't, we read in this last chapter, in chapter 6, 2 Samuel chapter 6, David wasn't too proud to dance before the Lord. He wasn't too proud to like he said, make himself more vile than us, in order to prove a point that he was a true servant and a true believer of the Lord, man. And so this is a quality that we can learn from. This is Luke chapter 14 and verse 11. It says, um, whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased. It says, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. See, David didn't exalt himself. He didn't say, he didn't go up in war against Ishbosheth to try to usurp authority over him to be king. You know, he humbled himself, man. He was happy to be alive. So that's what happened. What happened consequently? The Lord exalted him, man. You see? And that's a mindset that we can benefit from as well. Okay, because the Lord, he hateth a proud look, a proud heart. So continuing on, it says, verse 10, moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Right. So at the time, David, he didn't have to, defend any cities. There was, at that specific moment where this is saying, there weren't any infiltrations going on, from the Moabites or the Amalekites. So there was still some more subduing to do. However, at that time, it was relative peace, right? And the Lord said, look, I'm going to set it up to where, the children of wickedness, they're not gonna come against Israel anymore. Okay. They're not gonna be overtaken and putting hell on our people. Right. It says as before time, because there was a time where when we entered into the land with Joshua, you had peace, until basically we started going off as a nation after that generation of Israel died off. We started, getting overtaken by the other nations, and that's when the judges, when you can read about that in the book of Judges, right? So this is a promise, okay, that the Most High made with well, you could say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but made with David, okay, which shows you that lineage going down from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all the way down, okay, through Judah, so on and so forth. Because remember, uh, David was of the tribe of Judah, right? Now it says, um, let's see here. It says in verse 11, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Also the Lord Yahweh telleth thee that he will make thee an house. So he said, basically, look, you want to make me an house? Okay, well, your request is going to be granted. Okay?
I got a quick precept for you.
Con.
This is Matthew 1 and 17. It says, so all the generations of Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David unto the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Hamashiach are 14 generations. The reason I want to bring that out is because throughout all those generations, the Lord is still dealing with the same line.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to what from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I would say, who was it before that? You know what I'm saying? You had Adam, Adam, Seth, Enos, or Faxad. You know what I'm saying? All those different men was that same line. You see, so from generation to generation, for anybody out there that want to get stupid, it's talking about Israel. You see, you're not gonna be watching the Justice League, and then all of a sudden the star of the show is Daffy fucking Duck.
Man,
Change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Con.
And the Lord is establishing his legacy right here with David. You see, he's making it a point to establish this. Go ahead.
Con. Yep. And this is a chapter, man, that Christians, man, y'all can't overlook this chapter. You can't just disannul this chapter, which we haven't even gotten to the juiciest part of it yet. So let's continue on. In verse 12, it says, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee. Now, let's get this word seed. It's a key word right here. All right. This is that word seed, Strong's H2233. It says Zerai. Zerai. Okay. Now, um, it says seed, sowing, or offspring. Okay. Offspring, descendants, posterity, children. Okay. So you can replace that word seed with offspring, descendants, right? And it says in the scriptures, um, that the Lord sprang out of the tribe of Judah, man. Talking about
Mhm.
Yahushai. Okay. Um, actually, let me I'll pull it up another way. Okay, I'm gonna finish this verse. It says, um, it says in the middle of verse 12, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. So this is talking about Yahushai, man. Okay.
Right. I
This
got that. I got that Hebrews 7:14 for you.
yeah, the water.
Con. This is Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. It says, "For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of
Hmm.
which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning the priesthood." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm gonna get that word for sprang.
Hmm. Okay, it took off the H at the end. That's why I didn't pull up.
Anatello in the Greek, right? It says, "Rise, to cause to rise, of the earth bring forth plants to rise from, be descended from." Right? To
Woo!
rise, erase, to rise from, be descended from. Our Lord sprang out of Judah. He descended from Judah.
Right. That's right. Okay, so that lets you know, man, that none of this was it wasn't an accident that the Lord, the Yahushua, came from the tribe of Judah. Okay, this covenant that the Lord made with David, okay, all those years before Yahushua came on the scene, was not an accident. It wasn't a happenstance. Okay, this was all very intentional. And what Christianity doesn't do is it doesn't give acknowledgement, sufficient acknowledgement to that, to come to the realization that, look, the Lord is only dealing with the nation of Israel, which is going to become more evident as we continue on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it says, verse 13, 2 Samuel 7:13, he shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Again, this is talking about, uh, so this is talking about King Solomon, right? You can say King Solomon, of course, he built the first temple. Okay. Also, Yahweh is that chief cornerstone. Okay. And we can get, a plethora of precepts to go into how Yahweh is pretty much using us, okay, in these last days to rebuild that temple that was torn down. We went into Amos, the book of Amos, right? And then the last chapter of that book, it talks about how the Lord is going to raise up that tabernacle of David, okay, that is fallen, man, and close up the breaches. Now, we're looking at the establishment of that house. This is the beginning of that story. Okay, so this is very, very important. This chapter here pretty much can be referenced in a lot of other places in the scriptures. So it's important to understand this
Mm-hmm.
promise that's being made here. Okay, so verse 13 again, it says, "He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." You see, this is where the prophecy is coming in Second Samuel. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't sleep on this verse here, okay? Because ultimately, Yahweh Shai, he's gonna establish his kingdom, right, on earth as it is in heaven. Okay.
And without the prophecies, that will make the Lord a liar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a scripture that says plainly that the Lord cannot lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you got to figure out what it's talking about. I would say what the Lord got a lot of us for. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what the Lord got a lot of some weak ass Christians for. You know, so you need to figure out what He's saying, or get judged for adding or taking away from the word. You got it.
What? Con. Let me get a precept real quick. Psalms 89 and verse 3. It says, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant. Thy seed will I establish forever and build up thy throne to all generations. Selah. You
You
see?
see, and those generations didn't go away. Those generations didn't go away. Those generations wasn't done away with. And
Mm-hmm.
prophecy is our proof. You
Mm-hmm.
see, and it don't matter if you don't believe the prophecy, you're still subject to it. You got it.
Okay, I'm gonna drop down to verse 20. It says, I have found David my servant with my holy uh with my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand, who is the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, okay, with whom mine hand shall be established. Mine arm also shall strengthen him. Who is the arm of the Lord? Again, Yahweh Shai, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he sits at the right hand of the most high. Okay. So again, man, and then King Solomon, he didn't do anything but further, that legacy that David had set up. You see, he furthered that legacy. He fulfilled those this what we're reading here of the tabernacle, or I'm sorry, of the temple of the Lord, the house of the Lord being built.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then again, when Yahweh Shai came back in the flesh, okay, he pretty much set forth in motion the building of that spiritual temple, man. Which I know I mentioned that. Let's get that real quick in Peter's spiritual house. It's chapter 2. Peter chapter 2 and let's see, verse 4. Okay. It says, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of the most high and precious, talking about Yahushai. Yahushai was declined by a majority of our people, but chosen of the most high and precious in the eyes of the most high. Okay. Now us, it says, ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house
Mm-hmm.
and holy priesthood to offer up sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay, so what this is that we're reading in Second Samuel chapter 7 is the foundation of the concept that we build upon with the understanding that we have now, with Yahweh Shai being on the scene and opening us up to that next level of understanding. Okay. So this is the foundational chapter to understand the scriptures that we go into, like in the New Testament, a lot of them that refer to the spiritual house, they refer to the temple of the Lord, they refer to the third temple. A lot of these other nations, they don't get it. They think that the third temple can just be built by the Gentiles and they're good. Okay. But you have to understand the inception of the first temple, the first house of the Lord, if you will, to understand, those temples that came afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Continuing on in verse 14, it says, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. And this is another proof that shows you that and this is a reincarnation cut. This is a verse. What was that? Verse 12 is a virgin birth cut.
Right.
Okay. So these this chapter is very important, man. Okay, it says the Lord is talking about, it's talking about King Solomon, right? It says, I will be his father and he shall be my son. And when we get to that point where we're reading about that, or if you want to, I mean, it's in First Kings. If you read First Kings, you'll see the that. King Solomon was established by the Lord. He was the one. He was the son that was chosen out of all David's other sons to be king.
Right. The mercy of David.
Right.
You see, Solomon is the mercy of David. You know, that's why
Mm-hmm.
that's why David called him his Lord. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because he understood through the Spirit who his son was. You know, all the blood that was on David's hands and the things that he had done. You know, when it came to him wanting to build a house with the Lord, was like, no, your son is gonna build it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Your son is my son.
Mm-hmm.
That's a heavy a hard saying for those who can't receive it. But at the end of the day, like the brother said, virgin birth, yeah, the virgin birth is cut with that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The reincarnation. That was like, the Lord is lying otherwise,
Right.
because Solomon did commit sin. But
Yep.
was he beaten with stripes, or did he die in peace according to the scriptures? According
Right.
to the scriptures, he died in peace. He was going to have to come back, you know, to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill that lot. You see, when Yahushua said, "Why callest thou me good? There's none good but the Father." What was he talking about? You see, he knew what he was talking about, and through the Spirit, we know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
Yep. Con. Yeah. So we can't stress the importance enough of this chapter. Understanding this, you have to understand this. This is one of the key. Of course, all scriptures are important, and this is one of the foundational scriptures where if you don't understand this, you're gonna be lost reading, the Gospels and a lot of other,
Mhm.
parts in the scriptures. You got to understand it. Understand this. Um, Again, key history. Okay, so it says, verse 15, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul,
Mm.
whom I put away from before thee. So the Lord is making a distinction, saying, look, even though he may commit iniquity, even though he may be chastened, the Lord said he's not going to depart away from his son.
Right, based on the promises.
Mm-hmm.
You see, based on those promises. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you always we can always trace it back. You know, you got
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right. Just like, I mean, if you look at Saul's situation, the Lord completely, he left Saul to his own devices. He let Saul consume himself.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened. That never happened with the only begotten son of the Most High.
Right.
You see? And so it says, verse 16, and thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. Now, again, it says that the house and the kingdom is going to be established forever. Right now, currently, we're in captivity, man. So
Right.
this
With
shows
no
you that
king.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Without we're in captivity without a king. You
Right.
know, we living in the time of the prophets. You
Mm-hmm.
see, waiting for our king to return. You
Mm-hmm.
see, we already believe that King Marshall is King David, and he came. You know, and as another footnote, you know what I'm saying? King David passed away, and then Solomon went on to rule his house. You see, he wasn't on the planet. He wasn't on the planet ruling with Solomon. You see, so now that spirit of the house of David, the tabernacle of David being raised up, you know, it was a prelude to the kingdom, with Solomon being 40 years ruling with 40 years of peace. You see, so now that thing is happening again, to where that 40 years of peace is going to turn into forever, but the house of David is being built in the process. You see,
Mm-hmm.
with us being that temple, the lively stones, like you were saying. You got it.
That's right. I'm looking and seeing here. Okay. Um, okay, you know what? Let's do this, Jeremiah 23. Because there's so many. I can't ignore them all.
Mm-mm.
Jeremiah
In no
23
way.
and let me see here. You know what? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Jeremiah 23 and verse 5. Okay. Jeremiah 23 and 5 it says, behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Now, if you know your timeline, do I got my timeline in here? don't know if I got my timeline right here on me, but if you know your timeline of the prophets, you can go on Google and you can look up, prophets timeline to see which prophets prophesied at which times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you know your timeline, Jeremiah came way after David was long gone, meaning that Jeremiah was prophesying this after David's death. Okay, after King Solomon's death. So this is kind of backing up the point that we're going into.
14 generations between David and Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
We just read it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So that's like you said, that's way after. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. And so Jeremiah, he prophesied directly up until Nebuchadnezzar came up and took over the city of Jerusalem, right? So this is looking at the end of Jerusalem's sovereignty, okay? And this is still being prophesied here. We see in verse 5, it says, "Behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will raise up unto David a righteous branch." Okay, that righteous branch is Yahweh Shai. Okay, because again, Solomon, uh, you know, he was already he had already came and gone at that point that this is being written here, right? But it still talks about that righteous branch being raised up. It says, "And a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute justice and judgment, judgment and justice in the earth." Okay, it says, "And in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness." So again, this isn't only talking about just King Solomon here, okay? Because we're reading here in the prophecies where that branch, okay, that root, that seed, that righteous branch being Yahweh Shai, okay, according to the flesh, he's going to be raised unto David, okay? And again, he's going to be the king, and he's going to execute judgment in the earth. And it says in those days that Judah and Israel are going to be saved and dwell safely, man. So that has not happened yet, man.
right?
You see, that's the point. And so that lets you know that this prophecy here, okay, in verse 16, hasn't come to pass in its fullness yet. You see? So again, man, this is not a small, tiny just verse that you just read over. This is a whole chapter is very heavy, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it applies to us today. Now, continuing on in verse 17, it says, "According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David." Okay. So this is David's response.
Now, notice, the Lord is dealing with the prophet to inform the king on what's to come. You see, the prophets are very important. You know, so for people to take being a prophet so lightly and use that term so loosely, you know, it's I guess you're gonna get what you get. You know, you got it.
Con. Now this is David's response here. Okay, and we'll pretty much breeze through this here. And again, you see the footnote. A lot of these verses are parallel to First Chronicles. Okay, so continuing on in verse 7. I'm sorry, in chapter 7, verse 18, it says, then went King David in and sat before the Lord and said, "Who am I, O Lord Yahweh? And what is my house that thou hast brought me hitherto?" Right? Again, showing that David was humble. He was like, "Lord, what makes me so special? What makes me so uh precious in your sight to where you made this covenant with me?" Right? It says, uh verse 19, "And this was yet a small thing in thy sight, O Lord Yahweh. But thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house for a great while to come. And is this the manner of man, O Lord Yahweh?" Right? David was amazed by saying, "Lord, this is easy for you to do. This is not a complex thing for you to do. But the fact that you are dealing with us you know, and dealing with me and saying this to me, like he's like, who is this? Is this the manner of man? Basically, these things are like beyond what the typical man experiences, right? It says in verse 20, and what can David say more unto thee? For thou, Lord Yahweh, knowest thy servant, right? So he couldn't really he couldn't really express his gratitude. He's like, Lord, you the most high. Like, what can I say? What can I say to that? So this is a prayer that the Lord, I'm sorry, that David's saying to the Lord. David's praying to the Lord. It says, for thy word's sake, and according to thine own heart, hast thou done all these great things to make thy servant know them. And that's the thing that we got to realize, man, is that when we do the Lord's work, it's not really, we're just the workers, we're just the servants. Like, we're this is all to glorify and magnify Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. When you think about it, the Heavenly Father considered Abraham his friend.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and then fast forward to Yahweh Shai when he was telling the disciples, you know what I'm saying? Y'all my friends now.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to that, the Lord revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets. All these things start to come together at this point. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the humility that David is showing is the same humility that we should show. Like what's so special about me? But the Lord made the promise before you knew whether or not you were special in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
I'm gonna get this precept real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 9. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verse 4. Okay, this is a key thing for us to remember. It says, speak not thou in thy heart after that the Lord Yahweh thy power hath cast them out from before thee, saying, for my righteousness the Lord hath brought me in to possess this land. Right? Because when you go into the history of us taking over the land, there were Canaanites that were dwelling in this land that the Lord allowed us to drive out. And the Most High was telling us, look, don't say in your mind, okay, when this comes to pass, and I drive these other nations out, the Lord was telling, speaking, don't say in your mind that because I'm righteous as a man, that's why the Lord brought me in to possess the land. He's saying, don't, speak not thou in thine heart, right? Don't think that. It says, but for the wickedness of these nations, the Lord Yahweh doeth drive them out from before thee.
That's what's going to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to now. It's the same thing. The heathen acting a fool and don't wore out their welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Esau, because Esau thinks that way. He thinks how, like, he's basically proud in his heart saying, look, it's because I'm this great guy and I'm this, my sword, you know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed. That's the reason why I have these niggers in subjection and I have all these other nations under subjection. Okay. That's why he's going to be fooled when he gets taken over for his wickedness. Right. And I'm gonna finish verse 5. It says, not for thy righteousness or for the uprightness of thine heart doest thou possess their land, but for the wickedness of the nations of the Lord, of these nations, the Lord Yahweh thy power doeth drive them out from before thee, and that he may perform the word which the Lord Yahweh swear unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You see? So it wasn't because of, we were so righteous, right? It was because these other nations, the iniquity of those nations were fulfilled, and it was time to judge. That's why when this place gets judged, Babylon the Great gets judged, it's going to be because of ultimately all of the wickedness that was done in it. Okay.
I got
And
something quick for you. You
con,
finish
con.
your point, but I got a precept for you.
Yeah, and because he said to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he was going to preserve his seed and establish it forever. Okay, you got it, Zaquan.
This is Isaiah 10 and 15. It says, shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? as if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if there were no wood. You know, so like what you were saying, the Lord was like, don't think that you're doing it on your own. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this for you because you belong to me. You know what I'm saying? So he get his glory. You know, you got it.
All right, this is going back 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 22. Okay. Actually, hold on. Yeah, verse 22. It says, "Wherefore art thou great, O Lord Yahweh, for there is none like thee, neither is there any God, any power beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself," which we bring this out all the time in Deuteronomy 7 and 6, right? We bring this out very often. There's another precept to that. It says, "And what nation, what one nation, one nation in the earth," okay, not all, not everyone, okay, this is the one nation in the earth, okay, the Lord's people. It says, "Even like Israel, whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible." You see, the Lord isn't using these other nations to do things to magnify him, man, to magnify his name. Okay, they're doing what the heck they want to do. Okay, and it's going to come a time where the Lord uses us again to impose his will upon the earth, which you're seeing that go down spiritually right now. You see? Okay, so it says, continue on in verse 23, "For thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest from Egypt, from the nations and their gods." Yeah, so he's saying, what nation is like unto Israel, man, who was brought out of the land of Egypt, okay, and who was saved from these other nations destroying them. So when you read chapters like Ezekiel 16, where it talks about the inception of our nation and how the Lord brought us out, we were very vulnerable and the Lord preserved us, and then we went and rebelled. See, it's these intimate interactions with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that we can't forget. This is when we were on the Most High's good side, so to speak. Okay, to a degree, a lot more here than we are now as a nation. Okay, but through Yahushai, that's going to change, of course. So it says in verse 24, "For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever." You see, so this hasn't changed, man. It's just that we've been made to have to go through his son Yahushua, because we squandered that access, that direct, that access. So now we need that mediator, okay, which is Yahushua. It says,
I would say he didn't send the Lord to die for all the other nations.
Khan. That's right. His blood only covers Israel. Okay. It says, "And now, O Lord Yahweh, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said. And let thy name be magnified forever." So you can't say that the Lord's name is important, man. It says, "Let thy name be magnified forever." I don't know how many times you see capital Lord. It's in pretty much every verse. Let me see. Control F. 18 times, man. In just this one chapter.
Man.
You see?
Hey, go ahead and click it to show them what it say. We ain't gonna play with it.
Right. You see? We were in verse 25.
It's gonna say Yahweh every time.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to say nowhere else do you see Ahia. And if you do see Ahia more than once, you don't see it as many times as you see Yahweh.
Yep. Yahweh is the most frequently recurring word in the scriptures, man. All right, 6,500 times. Okay. It says Yahweh, Strong's H3068. Okay, this is what they call the tetragrammaton People transliterate it incorrectly. All right. It's simple 4 letters, Yah, Ha, Wa, and then Ha at the end.
Right. He
Okay.
exists. Yep.
Which means
He,
he is.
he to be.
Mm-hmm.
See? That's the
That's
only God.
right.
That's the only God you can pray to that's able to do something for you.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Let's go back
Now,
here.
matter of fact, go back to the
Okay.
word, and
Okay.
then click on the root word.
Mm-hmm. Haya.
Yeah, click on the root word.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll
Yep.
down. Uh,
Be.
to exist, to be
Mm-hmm.
in existence. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm. The scriptures say that the Most High is omnipotent, man, meaning that He exists everywhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you continue, if you continue to dig, you're gonna run into breath. You know. Yeah, if you continue to dig, it's gonna go into the breath.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I will say, he breathed into Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Yahweh Shai breathed on the disciples. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those dry bones were breathed upon. You
Mm-hmm.
see, so
Yep.
you can't just discount that. You know, this I will say our power Yahweh is the only one that can breathe knowledge, wisdom, and understanding into whosoever he chooses. You see, and he chose Israel. He chose David.
Mm-hmm.
See,
That's right. Yep. Yep. And this is a very common word, Haya. Okay. So and it mentions that actually what you talked about, Zaquan, to be, to exist. When you go into the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it mentions that Genesis 3 and 1, Genesis first chapter, Genesis second chapter, right?
mm-hmm.
So
And breath signifies life.
mhm,
If it ain't no breath in you, you dead.
that's right.
You got it.
Con. Going back to verse 25. Let's go back here.
I know you got that call coming, brother. Don't forget.
Yeah, yeah, Con, yeah. I'm gonna just read the rest and then
We can go
I'll
ahead and
let you
close out
close
because I
out.
got to get back to.
Okay, cool. All right. It says, let me see, verse 26, it says, and let thy name be magnified forever, saying, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is the power over Israel, and let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. For thou, O Yahweh of hosts, power of Israel, hast revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee an house. Therefore hath thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. And now, O Lord Yahweh, thou art that power, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant.
Mm.
Therefore,
Promised.
yeah.
Promised. An entity that can't lie promised us. We're gonna leave it at that. That's what I'm saying. Ain't nobody that don't believe in the Lord and believe you can do whatever you want to gonna trump that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get out your own way. You're gonna tell the Lord he can't choose his own people to do what he want to do with them. We gonna argue with your motherfucking ass. Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
It says, therefore now let it please thee to bless us, to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O Lord, hast spoken it, and with thy blessing let the house of thy servant be blessed forever.
I'm saying, for thou, O Lord, have spoken it. Yahweh said it. That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So hey, you want to? You got anything else before we close out?
Nah, that was pretty much it, Zaquan. I just I mean that was the point. I believe the point was made. We got the precepts earlier. Brothers got precepts on the comment board.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
go
know.
ahead. I'm gonna run through these precepts on the comment board. You can go ahead and handle your business. I got a few more minutes I can spare.
Okay, okay, Khan. Hey, y'all was just thought. Shalom.
Yeah, by Shemal Shabrakatah, brother. I'll catch you later, Lord
Khan.
willing. All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna run through some of these precepts. Let me see. Kazakh Ban Yahweh, right? This is Luke 17 and 10. Right? It says, so likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do, and our job is to do this work, with the understanding that's been given to us, we got to go ahead and do what we got to do. We speak on the Lord as the scripture has said, right? All right, Jeremiah 10:23. It says, Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. All right. Oh Lord, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. You see, that humility. That humility comes from our forefathers. You remember when Abraham was asking, could Lot be saved? You know what I'm saying? He was very careful about the way he came to the Lord, and we got to be the same way. All right. Samak, Shalom, brother. Shalom. This is First Peter chapter 2, verse 9. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who had called you out of darkness into this marvelous light. You see, the Lord hadn't done that with everybody, man. It's only a small group of people. It's only a small group of people that adhere to what's being written right here. All right. All right. Let me see. All right, this is Kazak again, right? Lamentations 3:21. It says, this I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. You see, the Lord is gonna get his glory either way. You see, he already set aside men that were gonna do that. And we believe we're those men, you know, and just judging off what you seeing on the internet, what you seeing on YouTube and all these different things, you see who's going all out for you. How about Shemi Hawashai, as far as putting up lessons, glorifying the Lord, going out on the highways and the byways, reproof, rebuke, all these different things that the scriptures call for us to do. You know, you got some groups out there that only respond when they get rebuked. You know, if you're going off according to the doctrine, it's our job to be fully set for the defense of the gospel, and we are. And Lord willing, we endure to the end. We know we're not exempt. We know we still got work to do. You know what I'm saying? But you got Israelite groups that's out there doing half work, shoddy work. You know, there's more to it than once you find out you're an Israelite and then you just skate off into the sunset. No, we got work to do like a mug, man. Right? All right, verse 23. It says, they are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. You see, this is our legacy, the hope, and that the Lord, to hope in the Lord and know that what he says is going to happen. You see, no matter how long you got to wait, the Lord said that he was going to do something, so he's going to do it. Right? It says, the Lord is good unto them that wait for him. Right? To the soul that seeketh him. That's not everybody. That don't apply to everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got people out here eating snakes and talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Doing all kind of madness. But they swear the Lord love them because he know their heart. That's the very reason why he gonna smoke your behind, is because he know your heart. You see? People ain't got it like that, man. You see? It's all about something. It's always about something else. No. The men of the Lord have one track mind. You see? All right. Samak was good. All right. This is John chapter 2, verse 23. It says, whosoever denied the Son, the same had not the Father. But he that acknowledged the Son had the Father also. You can't get around that, man. You can't get around that. You see, you got these. We give double honors to our apostles and elders, but we know that they not the Lord. You see, we know that the second we put them above the Lord gonna smoke us. Might do something to them. You see, that's why they always tell us, like, look, we just men. You see that example in the scriptures time and time again. Even the angels, look, the angel was like, look, I'm your brother. Don't bow to me. You see, so even angels have that humility. You know. All right, this is GMS mustard door. Shalom, the water for the pre. Right, this is Matthew 15:24. It says, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel, man. You see, ain't no. That's what I'm saying. This is for the body of believers. No. First of all, the body of believers is Israelites. So we gonna get rid of that one. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that one. All right, Joel 2:27. Samak again says, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. You see, you got 2/3 of the nation of Israel that's ashamed of the gospel right now. So they do all types of things to maneuver and wiggle around and do all this BS. No, no, no. The house of David is being established. You see, and we just proved it in this lesson through the Spirit. So hey, with that, the water for the precepts, the water for the participation. Lord willing, we'll see you, brother, soon. With the continuation of this chapter. So hey, with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Aki teacher about the mind, why mock. That's in sincerity and truth. Shalom.